George Whitesides, the CEO of Virgin Space. I'm sorry, George. I am recovering. George, please join me on stage. How are you, George?
Great, how are you?
It's not Virgin Space. How do you
Virgin
call it?
Galactic, yeah.
Galactic.
But that's fine.
I am
you got
in
the main
space.
point. Yes, exactly.
I am in space.
We're all in space.
Karl Lagerfeld this morning said, I'm very down to Earth, just not this Earth. And so it's the same with me. So Virgin Galactic, sorry about this. The floor is yours. The
Great,
stage is
thanks
yours.
very much. Well, hello everybody. Bonjour, salut. My name is George Whitesides, and I'm the CEO and president of Virgin Galactic, which is Richard Branson's space company. And it's a great pleasure to be here and to share something that is a bit different from what you all have been hearing about today, something that's linked with what you are talking about, but also a bit different. So I want to talk to you today about space and what we're doing at Virgin Galactic, but I also want to talk to you about dreams and the importance of dreams for driving innovation. But to start, I always find that it's easier to see in pictures what we're talking about rather than just talking about it. So what I'd like to do is just show a very short video from my boss explaining why Virgin started a space company. So if we could show that video now.
I'd seen the moon landing as a young boy. And I just thought, one day I'm going to do that. But years by year went by, and NASA didn't seem to be that interested in getting you or me into space. And so in about 1990, I suddenly thought, Virgin Galactic sounds like a good name. And so having registered the name Virgin Galactic, I had to do something about it.
Pressures look good. We're attracting the feather.
Okay to lock. Locks are moving. Feathers down and locked.
To be perfectly honest, I think it would be very sad for anybody not to want to go to space. I mean, if you're inquisitive about life and inquisitive about the world around us, most of what's around us is space. And just to be able to look back at our fragile Earth from space and see the beauty of it is something that I'm sure that every single one of us would love to do if we had the opportunity.
So that's Virgin Galactic, and that's our spaceship. So yes, thanks. So Richard's dream and my dream is to open space to dramatically more people and things and activities. And we're at a really special moment in space history when we're going to transition from what I call the first space age to a new space age where thousands and eventually millions of people will be able to go into space and to use space for noble purposes like figuring out how we solve global warming and seeing where we're deforesting the planet and all these other uses that are really important to humanity's future. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today, and I'm going to tell you sort of how this project got started. This is a picture of the Saturn V rocket. It's what took us to the moon, and it's what got me inspired as a kid about space. And frankly, there's nothing really that bad about the Apollo program. It represented the best of humanity, but it also represented the first space age, which was this really expensive, hugely involved program, government program. And that's sort of, I think, the way that we all think about space now, is that it's this very large government program, and it requires tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to do anything. Well, that's changing now, and it's changing, I think, in large part because of Virgin Galactic, but also because of several other exciting companies that are out there. This is a picture of our vehicle. And, we'll talk a little bit about it more in a second, but the main point to get is that it's an air-launched vehicle. So it is taken up to 50,000 feet by a carrier aircraft, and then the vehicle that you saw dropping in the video is Spaceship Two, which is our vehicle. So let me talk just a little bit about Virgin Group and why we decided to start a space company. So Virgin Group now has over 300 companies, 50,000 employees, about $10 billion, $10 to $20 billion market cap. It's a big organization. So why would this organization start a space company? And the answer, of course, is a dream. Richard's dream, primarily, the dream that space was an industry that needed to be shaken up, that was in fact ripe for revolution. And it's a dream that's sort of similar in many ways to some of the other enterprises that we've begun. For example, one of the things is the Earth Challenge. We've put up a $25 million prize to figure out how to suck out gigatons of carbon from the atmosphere. Another one is Virgin Oceanic, which is a project to build a submarine that will take people down to the deepest point in all of the 5 oceans, something that we actually haven't done yet. We've only been to one of the 5 oceans. So we try to dream big at Virgin, and in many ways, Virgin Galactic is sort of the epitome of that process. So very quickly, how did Virgin Galactic come to be? It's a story of 4 people. The first is Peter Diamandis, who is the founder of the X Prize. Many of you know that, the X Prize Foundation. They're doing fantastic work all over the world. Peter had a vision that said that space needed to be shaken up. And so he started something called the original X Prize, the Ansari X Prize, which was a $10 million competition for the first private, commercial, reusable spaceship. $10 million. So the next character is a guy named Burt Rutan, who is arguably the most important and accomplished aerospace engineer of our time. He has a company called Scaled Composites, which decided that they wanted to compete for the X Prize. The next person is Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. Burt Rutan partnered with Paul, who decided this was something that he wanted to be involved with, a historic project that could actually succeed. And finally is Richard, the entrepreneur, who decided that this could be commercialized and brought to benefit millions more people around the world. At Virgin, we've got several cultures of innovation and dreaming, and one of them is this idea that we can transform global aviation. We just announced a couple days ago a new process through which we want to encourage global adoption of biofuels in aviation. Another one is a culture of adventure. This is a picture of the Virgin Atlantic Global Flyer, which was a vehicle that did a solo circumnavigation of the globe by Steve Fawcett, one of Richard's good friends. And this is a picture of Spaceship One, which was the vehicle that sort of made it happen. So Burt Rutan, in his factory, designed and built a small vehicle, which I picture here, Spaceship One, which in fact, flew 3 times to space and won the X Prize, $10 million, and proved not just that getting to space was possible, but more importantly, that a small team, a small innovative team, could build a space project, much like the projects that you're doing, a small project that could transform the world, but more importantly, transform what people felt was possible. You know, for many years, it was this paradigm that space could not be done without thousands of people, but then Scale did it with just a couple hundred people and sent a ship to space. So as I said, what are we doing? Well, where we aspire to take thousands of people into space. This is the mission profile. You'll see that the spaceship goes up to 50,000 feet, where the spaceship releases, and then the rocket motor fires, and you rocket up at Mach 4, so 4 times the speed of sound, to 100 kilometers up, where you'll experience several minutes of weightlessness. And then the vehicle will feather and have a stable re-entry back into the atmosphere, and then you'll circle down once you get back into the atmosphere like a glider and come to a landing from the same place that you took off from. What are we bringing to people? Well, there's 3 sort of major things that we're bringing. One is the experience of looking down at the planet from space. And you know, you talk to astronauts who have been up in space, and they talk about the experience of spaceflight as a truly transformational thing, something that changes their worldview, that changes how they see the universe, how they see the connections between them and their fellow man. That's something that we're very excited to bring to people, potentially to even bring to global leaders someday. Why not fly some of the world's leaders into space and see how that affects them? Maybe even fly leaders from different sides of a border. The next thing that we bring is weightlessness, which is, I don't know how many people here have experienced microgravity, but it's an amazing thing. It's the way I talk about it is that you have a part of your brain that was active when you were a little kid and you were learning to walk and you were learning to swim and you were learning to move in an environment that had 1G, one gravitational unit. And that piece of your brain sort of turns off until you do something really new. And the first time I did microgravity, which you can do in a plane, I felt like that piece of my brain turned back on again, and I felt alive in a way that I hadn't. And the third part is potentially the most profound, which is the view of space looking out, and looking out at our universe, looking out at thousands and millions and billions and trillions of stars in our own galaxy and in other galaxies, something that you just can't see from the surface of the Earth. I think all 3 of these things will be profound experiences, and we look forward to sharing them. So who is going to come fly with us? We have now 475 people who have signed up, and I will be taking reservations after the talk, so you're welcome to come up to me later and add your name. They're an amazing group of people. In fact, I think we might have a few of those people, John Taylor and Lars Heinrich. I don't know if you're out there, but real customers today, and a few unannounced folks as well. If you're a customer of Galactic, wave your hand. Anybody out there? There's one. Maybe stand there. Let's see. Is that John? I can't tell. Yep. So, and we've got a few more out there as well. So it's a really incredible group of people, and we go all over the world and share experiences in the lead up to commercial flight. An interesting statistic is the number of people who have been to space since the beginning of space, and that's 525 people. We think we'll be able to fly that number within the first year and a half of operation. So we really want to sort of change the order of magnitude of the number of people going into space. I want to talk just a little bit about where we'll be flying from, because that's an important part of the picture, and it leads to one of the final points that I'd like to make. So in the United States, there are now spaceports springing up all over the country. Of course, there have been some for many years in Florida. We've always flown space shuttles from there. But there are now a whole new raft of other locations, both in the US and abroad. And that's a really exciting thing for where that's going to lead. We're going to be flying from a place called Spaceport America in southern New Mexico. A few years ago, the state of New Mexico said that they viewed space as an economic development area, and so they decided to build a purpose-built spaceport for commercial space operators to take people and things into space. And so this is a picture of our vehicle flying over Spaceport America. And it's really a spectacular facility. The architect, Sir Norman Foster, designed it, and I think it sort of is a worthy shape of the world's first commercial spaceport. They build a 10,000-foot runway, and then this amazing facility, which you'll see sort of rises out of the desert and molds into the landscape. It's meant to be an incredibly energy-efficient building and something that you almost can't notice when you're a few miles away from one side of it. And then you circle around to the front, and you see this incredible building that will hold 2 carrier aircraft and up to 5 spaceships that we'll be able to operate with. We just dedicated the facility with some dancers who were very sort of zero gravity in themselves. Now, the interesting thing is about starting a space line is that you have to build sort of each of the different parts of the industry at the same time. So what we're also doing is we're building a manufacturing company called the Spaceship Company, and we just completed a hangar facility out in Mojave, California, where we will be building additional copies. You know, and we aspire for this to be sort of like the Boeing, or I guess here the Airbus of commercial space, where we'll be building additional copies of spaceships as we go forward. And we're getting new investors as well. We just a couple years ago closed a $300 million round, which led to another additional $100 million. And the company is now capitalized at over valued at over $1 billion. So it's a company it's an area and a company that is growing very rapidly. These are our partners at Abar, who is an investment company in Abu Dhabi. So I just want to conclude with a few remarks, and I think some points that sort of bear witness to the changes that are going on, that I think that you should be aware of as you sort of think about space, and also as you think about your own innovative projects and companies. One is that our project is testament to the proof that sort of small groups of people can create incredible works outside of the IT space, that this transformation is happening right now. Another is that the space industry is essentially going through the same process of birth that the aviation industry experienced about 100 years ago. And we just happen to be living through that moment, which is an incredibly exciting thing. So I would expect in 10 years, 20 years, what we'll see is not just these short trips up into space, but also trips between point to point on the Earth's surface, so that you could go from France to San Francisco in a half an hour, or Tokyo to New York in 40 minutes. We really actually haven't increased the speed of transportation, of jet transportation, in 50 years, which is a crazy thing that we've had so much innovation in computers, computing technology, IT, various other technologies, even energy, but not in air travel. And certainly that's one of the things that we aspire to do at Virgin Galactic. But I think the final thing that I'd like to share with you, or close with, is just the importance of big dreams for our future. We live in an era where people are discouraged in many ways about the future. It's a tough time out there. And I think it's critical that we keep having big dreams, because that's what's going to sort of give us a reason to sort of look forward to the future and change the future and change our world in big ways. We've got massive issues that we're confronted with, whether it's global warming or it's energy problems or transportation issues, cities. And we need to have big thinkers to sort of push us outside of incremental changes. And I think that Virgin Galactic is one sort of small example of that big thinking that we certainly try to keep at Virgin. And I know that there's a lot of big thinking going on in this room here. So it's an honor to be able to share some thoughts about space and innovation and Virgin Galactic with you today. I know we're all looking forward to several more great days here at the conference. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best. À bientôt. Merci.
That was a great talk, George. Thank you so much. I want to ride one of those. Do you have can I order right now? How much is it?
Absolutely. You can put down as little as $20,000. No
and what's the total amount?
200.
And can I have a big discount?
Yes, for you, I'll give you at least
$200.
$20. Yeah, $20 to $25.
All right, well, I have a checkbook
Yeah.
on me, 200. This
Very
is
good.
awesome. I can't wait.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
so much, George, for
Okay.
being here
Cheers.
tonight.